What's up, everybody? It's John Morgan. Listen, I want to just say thank y'all to everybody who has been supporting this podcast. I cannot grow this without the support of the community who allows me to grow. So thank y'all to everybody who's been supporting, everybody who's been sharing it, everybody who is a subscriber on YouTube, everybody who has purchased merch from me, everybody who just tells somebody, you know, through telling somebody in conversation, who share these podcasts in your group text. Thank y'all. I cannot do this without you guys. So thank you for that. Right now, we want to ask for a specific type of support right now. If you can, stop what you're doing. Yes, you right now. Stop what you're doing. Stop what you're doing right now. Go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. Become a subscriber to this page, the Live Your Purpose Podcast YouTube channel. Become a subscriber. Like, share, tell somebody about it. But stop what you're doing right now. Go to your YouTube page and become a subscriber. Click it. Click subscribe on the YouTube page and become a subscriber of this page. It allows us to grow, and it allows us to touch different reach with different people. So please, if you call yourself a supporter, if you want to continue to see us grow and continue to see us build, stop what you're doing right now. Go to YouTube, click that subscribe button, like, thumbs up, all of that. Please, right now, Live Your Purpose Podcast. Peace. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Live Your Purpose Podcast. I'm your host, John Morgan Jr. Pod number 2 of the day, man. We working, man. We feeling good. Before we get into, who our wonderful guest is for today, allow me to just say thank you to all of our genuine organic support from our community here at LYP. I cannot do this without the constant support, from the people who pour into us, is whether that's checking out our audio, whether that's checking out the video, whether that's buying the merch, whether that's just, sending me texts and just positive encouragement and positive feedback about something that they gained, in value from what we're doing here and building at LYP. I don't take that for granted. I appreciate y'all, and it is much needed. So thank y'all for that. If you're listening right now, go to the YouTube page, Live Your Purpose Podcast, become a subscriber. We continue to build our community over there. We want to get as many subscribers as possible. Also, if you want to tap in with the merch, lypp.org. Please go over there. We got some new stuff we just dropped. We just looking to continue to build. Our next guest, I'm super excited to have this individual on. This is really, LYP's first model in the house. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? We got Miss Kay Vick. Kay Vick is an entrepreneur. She's also the owner of Kay Vick Relations, where she helps creators with content creation and digital marketing. And she's the host of the Tappin Thursday podcast. Kay, what's up?
What's up?
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. I'm glad to have you. Listen, I initially, I think I just seen people just posting your stuff on social media, and I just started following you, and I had just tapped in I would love to come and be a guest on your show. I love what I was seeing from afar, what you had going, and then look at my mic. See, that's the stuff that we don't really get to see, man. You know what I'm saying? It's always technical difficulty. Real, man, come help me out, man. Help me. We gonna
authenticity though.
Yeah, you feel me?
Let us see it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It can't be all perfect, man.
Exactly.
Is it gonna fall again, bruh? You sure?
It shouldn't.
See, this is stuff y'all don't get to see, man. You know what I'm saying? This is stuff that's part of the game, man. And I'm not cutting this out. I'm leaving this in too. Yeah. We not cutting this out. But no, man. When I met you and you had me as a guest on your show, I really loved your energy. I loved your spirit. I loved just the environment that you had. And I just got a lot of respect for other podcasters, man, and, creatives and people just building their own stuff and doing it their way. You know what I'm saying? I really had a, real appreciation for what you had going. And what's crazy is also when I came on, that was the day when I was supposed to be having my initial pop-up.
Right.
And
I remember that.
Those who know, we had to go ahead and cancel it that day. And what's crazy is I remember right after we canceled it, that same day, people asked me like, man, why you canceled it? Why, you know what I'm saying? You sure you should have canceled it? I'm like, man, one of the reasons why I'm glad I canceled and why I know I made a good decision is because when I was sitting down there with you, like my spirit felt good. I felt like I was supposed to be there in that moment. I didn't feel like I was supposed to be getting up and running out of there. You know, I felt content in my decision because sitting down with you, I felt like it was, you know, where it was supposed to be.
I appreciate
that.
Thank you.
All love.
That's real.
Yeah. So, you know, thank you for coming, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you just did a photo shoot for us, man.
Yes.
You just good, you just good peoples, man. You know,
Yes.
so check her out, man. You know what I'm saying? Kay Vick, she's shining all through our photo shoot, man. You see, again, I can't say it enough. Wonderful energy, just beautiful personality, just beautiful. Period, man. You killed our photo shoot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had to represent, support the new merch, which y'all can purchase right now. Y'all should purchase.
You know,
they were so comfortable. That lavender hoodie was my favorite.
Okay.
Even the one you have on now, I haven't seen this. Is this new?
This
or
old.
what?
This is last year. You feel me? When we still trying to keep it clean. You know what I'm saying? That's all. You know. But yeah, thank you so much, man.
Sure.
So I'm so glad to just, you know, have you here, you know what I'm saying, as a guest. And I really want to be able to kind of get into your story because I want to know it and I want to just be able to share, you know, and highlight, you know, a little bit of your story and what you got going on today.
Okay.
So let's start at the beginning. Where is Kay Vick originally from? And like when you really reflect on growing up and just, you know, those childhood memories, like what's some of the first things that come to mind for you?
So I'm originally from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Okay.
But I was raised here.
Okay.
Me and my mother moved here in Akron when I was 3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
So ever since then, I've been here. But of course, all of my family is in Cincinnati. So I go there often to visit them. And as far as growing up, I mean, it was hard, you know, splitting time with mom and dad growing up, but I feel like I had that smooth and fine balance, you know, to be able to get that love I needed on both sides.
Yeah.
And so I think that definitely made me who I am today.
Yeah, for sure. Man, what you just said something that's powerful, man. Like, when did you think that you felt and you understood, like, even though I'm splitting time between mom and pops, I got a good balance? Like, when did you know, really understand that, you know, I have a pretty solid balance between the two?
Let's see.
You think you always knew that?
I feel like I always knew that because they both, you know, supported me in that way as it relates to one another. You know, with my mom, you know, she was always supportive of my relationship with my dad, still is today.
Good.
You know, same with, and vice versa with my father. So, you know, having both sides communicate that in a way that I can understand, I mean, that's what's not to love about that. So I think that's how I reciprocated it. And, you know.
So is that how you identify, you know, those early childhood memories? Is just a healthy balance? You had a good balance?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm trying to find that balance now, you know, with my own endeavors, you know, with entrepreneurship, you know, working a 9 to 5, you know, and also maintaining, you know, a social life and a healthy life.
No, that's powerful. You know, and trust me, I understand completely. Man, we coming off a historical year in 2020. I know for myself, man, and so much shit happened to me in 2020. I had my first child in 2020. My mother passed away in 2020. So much transition, just a bunch of stuff happened for me in 2020. But I just got done telling somebody earlier that, you know, even in the midst of chaos, I felt very clear in 2020. So, like, for you, man, like, what you think you learned about yourself spiritually, mentally, you know, just emotionally, just about Kay Vick? What you learned about yourself in 2020?
That's a great question. I feel like I learned a lot about myself, and I still am learning more about myself. I think it's an ongoing journey. But so far, I feel like I've learned that patience is key. Sometimes you just need to slow down to have that clarity that you spoke of, you know, when your life was chaotic, you know. And I feel like for some of us, because we are involved with so much, we're just always on the go when we need to take a step back and really have self-care days, you know, because mental health really matters.
Yeah.
And so just taking a step back from what you're normally always doing, I think you'll be able to fuel that passion in a more positive way if you do that. So that's what I've been trying to work on.
Yeah, that's good. That's good, man. One thing that I learned about you in the midst of our shoot a couple weeks ago, I asked you, I said, man, what high school did you go to? And you said you went to Chicago Falls. And it resonated to me because for those who know, you know, people locally, that's a predominantly white school. I went to a predominantly white high school as well. I went to Copley.
Okay.
And, you know, I have a very, I had a very interesting experience in Copley. I consider myself to have a pretty, I had a solid experience for the most part. You know what I'm saying? I played sports, you know, I had a lot of relationships. I was into stuff. So, you know, it was cool. But as I, you know, transitioned out of high school and just evolved and became an adult, I really got to really understand that it was cool, but I dealt with a lot of bullshit in that school, you know, a lot of microaggression, a lot of racism, a lot of just you know, covert racism, a lot of stuff that I wasn't even consciously aware of at the time, you know what I'm saying, from being in that environment. What was your experience in just you know, going to Chicago Falls, you know, and just, you know, being in that predominantly white school, you know what I'm saying, coming up?
I mean, for me, it was somewhat difficult because all of my friends went to public school, but my mother made that easy for me when, you know, she would still allow me to do those activities, those football games, you know, what was it, Bookville versus Firestone,
for sure.
you know,
for
those football games. So it was lit. Also, I remember my best friend, she went to Jennings, and I went to this Catholic school, and so she would pick me up and drop me off to walk home with the people from Jennings. And so I still had that healthy balance that I spoke of earlier as it relates to, you know, sticking to my culture and having black friends. But as far as going to a predominantly white school in general, it was hard because there wasn't a lot of people like me there, you know. I also actually experienced racism, you know. I had a friend who was Caucasian and she dated someone, and I happened to be in the same presence at this time, that he was normally doing what he did on a daily basis, but I guess he forgot that he was around someone that was black, and a black person stared at him funny, and he, you know, said, "What the F you looking at, nigga?" You know? And so for me, that was just crazy. So that was my first experience, you know, facing racism during that time. But for the most part, because of that healthy balance between people that I went to school, or, you know, my friends that went to school at Akron Public, you know, I feel like I had that figured out.
You know, that's powerful, man. And I love how you keep reiterating the importance of balance.
Yes.
And, you know, understanding that, you know, that was always there. That was always on the forefront for you. When you reflect on having that balance, you know, from the experiences you kind of spoke of, how do you look on them how do you settle into them today? How do you feel about the balance that you had today?
Well, I'm still working on that. I felt like the balance that I had, that I'm speaking of, involved, you know, help and guidance from, you know, my mother. And right now, you know, it's all on me. I'm an adult now, you know, and so getting involved in entrepreneurship, working a 9-to-5, you know, all those things I spoke of, I'm still trying to figure out how to balance them all in a way that's, you know, doesn't have me staying up at night, and going to sleep on time and getting enough hours of sleep. And I know that, they say you don't sleep as an entrepreneur, but I want to have that healthy balance because that's not always true.
Yeah.
You can still be successful, still get things done, and go to sleep on time.
Right. Right.
So that's what I'm just trying to do. And, it's all about discipline and consistency. So that's what I'm trying to master right now.
What's been the hardest part for you in finding a balance and, being an entrepreneur as well as still, maintaining your 9-to-5 and, just the counterproductive mindsets that kind of come in with the two? What's been the hardest part about the balance for you?
Well, recently, should I say, faced a huge transition within my 9-to-5 job. I was working remote for almost 2 years, and then I was called back into the building to help train, train a new employee. And so that training process is 6 to 8 months, and it's intensive, hence the long training process.
Right.
And so everyone else is still working from home. Mm-hmm. And so the only reason why that I'm back is, to help train. And so for me, that's a change in my routine because at home I would try to balance entrepreneurship, or it was easier balancing the two while working at home. And I think for most of us, we started to build, or we had to adjust ourselves, when COVID happened. Mm-hmm. And so for me, that was a change, but I still think of it as a positive thing because any longer I would have gotten content, and now I'm back in my routine, and I think it was all God's timing. And so right now I'm learning to find a new balance between, getting off that 9-to-5 and putting that same energy I put in that 9-to-5 in the Kay Vick Relations. Right. And so that's the balance that I'm figuring out. Yeah. The new balance, rather.
Yeah. Who are some of your earliest influences as entrepreneurs, creatives, even if maybe as a kid you didn't even know it, but reflecting on it back then, or reflecting on it now back then?
That's a good question. For me, I don't think I had any inspo as it relates to being an entrepreneur. I just felt like all my life I felt my family worked their butts off with 9-to-5s, and for me, I didn't want that. And at one point, I wanted to be a lawyer. I have been in programs where it helped me figure out that I didn't want to become a lawyer, and that also led to the fact of entrepreneurship and wanting to be my own boss, which is cliche, but I just feel like I don't want to be boxed in. And when you work for somebody else, they box you in. Yeah. They want you to do what, they want you to do, and under their terms and conditions. And, sometimes I just want to be. Yeah. When did you realize that? When did you realize that, my people have done it this way, and that's cool. That works for some people, right. But for me, I don't want that. Mm-hmm. When did you realize that? I want to say I'm 26. I want to say last year. Recently, very recently. And my family that has 9-to-5s, they were inspiration. I never thought that it was bad to work a 9-to-5. I know that's how you got to get it. You got to get it how you live. So for me, it was more so their work ethic. Mm-hmm. How important it was to be somebody, how important it was to claim something or have something that you working towards. And so for me, that was them. That was seeing them getting up every morning, going to school. For my mom, she's a magistrate, so she went to law school, and so I saw that. For my dad, he was always up and always been working since I've been a baby.
Yeah.
So for me, just seeing that, it told me, okay, work ethic is what you need, but I want to do it this way, and that's my way.
Was it something that happened where you was just like, this ain't working no more for me? Like, what was it that happened last year that was just like, because listen, I resonate, what I'm saying, with being I still consider myself to be a new entrepreneur. The entrepreneurship ideas and the worldview didn't hit me until maybe 4 or 5 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as where I knew that, like, okay, this is what I want to do, and like, it feels true to me. You know what I'm saying? But there was some significant things that happened for me where I was just like, I'm cool on, working for anybody for the rest of my life. So was it anything specifically that happened where you just like, this ain't it?
I guess the pandemic itself, and especially now that my workload has doubled, and I found myself coming home after working for them, putting more time finishing work to catch me up.
Yeah.
So, for the next day there, and not putting that time and energy into Kay Vick Relations. So at that point, I had to take a step back, and say to myself, yo, you doing too much, or, split your time this way, give yourself grace, and, all you can do is what you can do.
Yeah.
And so that's
100%.
Exactly. So, and how can you, speaking of 100%, how can you give your all to something if you're not taking care of yourself in that way?
Yeah. What were your dreams as a kid?
My dreams as a kid, I always wanted to be somebody. I wanted to be a veterinarian. I loved animals. I wanted to be a lawyer, like I mentioned. I knew I wanted to go to school. And, as I grew older, I changed my major multiple times.
Me too.
So, you just find yourself going on these journeys, of self-development. And for me, that's still an ongoing journey.
Yeah.
But I do feel like the pandemic definitely was the thing that woke me up.
Yeah.
Like, it's time to really, get it going. Also, I had a few deaths in the family. And so for me, it was like, you only get one chance at life. It's time to really give everything your all and really, give yourself that grace when you are involved in so much, like balancing the 9 to 5 and entrepreneurship, and having to stay up at night, but making sure you take those self-care days where you're not doing anything at all, or whatever makes you happy that day.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. No, that's. I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you 100%. So you ultimately end up going to school, going to college. What school did you go to?
So I went to Xavier University.
Okay, and Xavier is it in Dayton?
It's in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati,
Yeah.
Right. Southern Ohio,
Yes.
right. So how do you view graduating with your degree today? You know what I'm saying? Pursuing entrepreneurship, like, what was your experience in college? And like, again, today, you're pursuing something that I'm sure, I don't know if it has any type of real correlation or connection to your degree, but like, how do you view your experience? What's your view of just like going to school in general, and doing entrepreneurship today?
Well, so I have a bachelor's in public relations, and so most of what I do is help people, help market.
Okay, so it's still connected.
And it's still connected. I recently obtained my master's too through Kent State University.
Shout out to you.
Thank you. And that was actually online, the whole program. So the whole 18 months. So
that's no joke.
Yeah, so, but it was a good balance, you know, being able to work and be in school versus having to go to class. So I think it was convenient for me. I'm sorry. What was the question?
So I was asking you, you know, how do you view, you know, the experience overall of just like going to school, you know, and pursuing entrepreneurship today and just being a creative and building your own stuff?
Right. So right now I feel like I'm glad I went to school, obviously, but I do feel like being an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter about those degrees. You got to apply it at that point because you want to be your own boss. Yeah. Now, having those degrees when you working for somebody, that's, you know, what they want to see, but as an entrepreneur, you got to apply what you learned in school, and it got to stick in order for you to really make something of it. Yeah,
I mean, it's crazy because my experience with going to school, I'm similar. I changed my major at least 3 times. It took me 10 to 12 years to get my bachelor's degree. You know, I was in and out of school. For a variety of reasons. I was fucking around, partying, you know what I'm saying, fresh out of high school. Really didn't really know what I wanted to do. And by the time when I left school that first time, my grades were so messed up that I couldn't even come back to, you know, the school I was at. I had to go to a community college. Ultimately ended up getting my associates after somebody, you know, told me that, listen, John, you might really want to be able to look into the social work field. You know, you good with people, you like helping people and things like that, and you can make some decent money. You know, so from there I was like, okay, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and lean into that. Fast forward, I was able to get my degree in social work, where I was able to, you know, find some pretty decent work experience. I worked a little bit up in Cleveland at like a community center for a small period of time, but the majority of my work experience as a social worker came here at a community mental health organization named Minority Behavioral Health Group, shout out MBHG, where I learned a hell of a lot of like skill set that I apply today. And it really opened my mind a lot in the mental health field, and really just like it expanded my consciousness and how I see the world today. And on one end, and being an entrepreneur today, I'm like, man, I should have never went to school because it was like the worst financial decision that I ever did. You know what I'm saying? Because here I am with this debt over this long period of time, and I'm not even really utilizing my, you know, my degree per se. But on the flip side, like I just said, if I don't go to school, if I don't have the experience of going to school, then I don't find myself being a social worker at MBHG and, you know, obtaining the skills and obtaining the knowledge and the information that serves me today. Right. So going back to what you said, I got the healthy balance. Right. Although I am still an advocate for people not going to school. Okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? I still think that there's value in, like, you know, pouring into yourself and building, you know, things for yourself from the beginning. So it's interesting, you know what I'm saying? That's why I asked you, you know, what your experience was, because a lot of people are in you and I situation. A lot of people are transitioning into being entrepreneurs, especially after the pandemic. Absolutely. It's so many new businesses coming out, for sure. And I think too, being people who, you know, went to school, collected some debt, and we see people who haven't went to school and they're doing their thing. They done made it now. They at the top where we trying to be. It's frustrating, but when you get to comparing yourself, that's when you already, you know, messed up. Bingo. And that's the ultimate lesson in it. You know what I'm saying? Which is that, like, listen, it's not even about like taking away from what I had. Like I did it, you know, and it served me. It served us. So it's not about. That's the lesson right there. It's not comparing yourself to other people. You know what I'm saying? It's really about accepting what you have, being content, and utilizing it to, you know, your best abilities. Yep. You feel me? So that's really what it's all about. What's up, everybody? It's your boy John Morgan. Listen, man, right now, as y'all can see, man, I got on the new Live Your Purpose podcast merch, man. It's going crazy right now. The t-shirts, I got the dad hats. People always hit me up. John, man, where can I get it? How can I grab your stuff? You got a website, you got a site. How can I grab it? I'm here to tell you, yes, we do have a site. All right, that site is www.lypp.org. O-R-G. Again, it's www.lypp.org. Go to that website right now, man. You can find you can find a link to the YouTube channel. You can find a link to the audio platform, but you also can find where you can shop and grab your merch right now. Again, man, check us out. We got the tees going crazy right now. The dad hats. Expect to see some new products on that site. Go right now, www.lypp.org. Again, man. A lot of y'all been hitting me up asking me about this link and this site. It's available. So do yourself a favor, go through, support, shop with your boy, spend some money with your boy. I know some of y'all still got that PPE money. Come spend some with your boy, man. Peace. Yeah, so you so correct. You know what I'm saying? That is a universal law. You know what I'm saying? Comparing yourself is the easiest way to like get down on yourself. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You start to like not really, express that gratitude. You know what I'm saying? And you stealing from yourself. You know what I'm saying? When you get to comparing yourself. But like, what do you think that you took from your experience of just like going to school and how it's helped you today?
I think it taught me discipline, especially the master's program where I'm working remote and, balancing and prioritizing homework and, due dates and all the things that come with being a student. And so for me, I feel like being in those programs taught me that. It also, because of what I do, it is transferable. And I made sure that, that's why I felt like I was so wishy-washy with what I wanted to major in, because I knew that I wanted it to be something broad, something general, something that wasn't going to limit me. So for the bachelor's in public relations, ultimately that's what I'm doing. I'm helping artists, creatives put themselves out there, my podcast, giving them a platform to gain that exposure. Eventually, I want to, be a publicist for a few artists or creatives. And so, but it's levels. Yeah. So, but I have that knowledge, I have that background and that expertise, but I need that hands-on experience now. So that's what I'm, working towards. And for my master's, it's in knowledge management, which is another broad term or, field. And so with that, you're managing intellectual assets. So with artists, their creativity, their music, their artistry, I'm managing that, in a way that can market them, whether that be, getting them free press somewhere, in a magazine, doing interviews like this, whatever it is to get them that exposure on social media. Okay,
yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Who were some of your inspirations in this media game?
Well, before the whole, shenanigans, Karen Civil was one of them. Yeah. And I believe, people make mistakes, right. But I hope they learn from them as well. And I'm not going to fault her for her previous works and, why she inspired me in the first place. But, she was one of those people that inspired this whole publicist and PR journey. And even the major, obviously. Yeah. And I think, just my love for music inspired me. Not anyone specifically, but just my love for music, all types of music I listen to. From hip hop to even country sometimes, but so I feel like I have those options out there for me.
Did you ever deal with any level of self-doubt with just like jumping into, building your own business, even though you have a secure, stable career that you can continue to like work towards and build upon?
Absolutely. I think that's why I'm not further along than I should be because of that, I've let fear get in the way, but this pandemic, man, I'm telling you, it turned me into a monster. So I'm really learning who, I want to be, who I want my brand to represent, what I want my brand to represent, and I want my work to, speak to that.
In what ways did fear get in the way of something that you really wanted to pursue, or just, it hindered you in a way?
Right. Failure, fear of failure, and also,
like, give me an example of a situation where fear paralyzed you in that moment.
Taking on a project that could have set me up, and set me up meaning I could have been in rooms with people, or I have access to people that can set me up, and I just gotta, give them something, provide them with a layout, a business plan, whatever. And, I feel like the fact that I know that once that happens, it's on. That means it's go time, and I think that's one of the things that, or an example of when I let fear get in the way.
Yeah, man, that pandemic, I've heard it, a lot, and I always ask people, what they learned about themselves in 2020, and one of the things that seems to be like a common place is that, like, that time where we were forced to, like, have self-reflection. Like, I heard Dave Chappelle say on a podcast, he was like, the best thing about 2020 was that, like, God forced us to have a self-reflection. Like, you had to sit down and be with yourself. You had to sit down and survey all your decisions. And that can either make you or break you. And one of the common things that I've noticed for a lot of people that I've sat down with is that, man, that time of, like, sitting with myself, it did something to me. You know what I'm saying? So, like, what was it about that those moments of stillness in the pandemic? You kind of, you said something, you said, you seen some family deaths, but was there anything else that happened during those moments of stillness where you was just like, you know what, I gotta take this action, like, I gotta face these fears coming out of this thing?
I want to say, as far as entrepreneurship, not so much, but my health, complacency and being at a job that was remote and you're seated and you're trying to balance all of these things at one time. And for me, it was, okay, I gotta do something about, the way I feel, how my attitude is about what it is I'm involved in right now, because I need that extra energy.
That's important.
That's natural powerful energy. So I went out and got me a trainer, and that's one of the things that I felt helped me get it together. And also it allowed me to see that, okay, this is what I need in order for me to feed energy into these things in this way.
Yeah.
So,
that's important. Mind, body, spirit.
Yeah, definitely.
All those things go hand in hand. And
I learned that.
Yeah.
For
man,
sure.
that's so dope that you say that, because I know that's one thing that I leaned into as well. You know what I'm saying, in 2020 is, but I mean, I was grieving. You know what I'm saying, in 2020, and I knew that I had to lean into, like, some level of, like, release in the midst of my grieving. And ever since then, man, I've been working out, with my guys, man. We formed a community, within our own group. And, man, we almost going 2 years strong, you know what I'm saying?
Wow,
5 days
great.
a week, you know what I'm saying? But I know that being intentional about my health and from that pandemic and the quarantine specifically, because we still in the pandemic, but the quarantine was damn near everything. Why podcast for you?
Podcast because, one, I'm an only child, and so I love to talk. And two, I think that I wanted to... That
might be the Sagittarius in you, too.
Yeah, I think so. I was going to mention that.
Right.
But I also think I really saw so much talent. And I was like, I want to tap into that. I want people to know about that. And so many people don't know that they even have talent or what to do with it. So I want to be able to, one, be that platform for them to gain the exposure, but also be that person that can help them build that platform that they want for themselves, that social media presence, and, you know, put them in rooms with people that can help them. You know, I meet a lot of videographers, you know, photographers that I can set artists up with. And, you know, one of the cool places about, or one of the cool things about Tappin Thursday is the location. Area 67 Recording Studio. It's a low-key studio.
Right.
No one has ever heard of them. And
but it's
a lit studio.
Yeah.
And so, you know, being a platform there to give them the exposure they need as well. I mean, it's a great opportunity for us all. You know, we all benefit from it, even the guests that appear on the show.
Yeah. Were you a podcast consumer before starting your own? Like, did you listen to other podcasts?
Yes, I did. Gary V, audio podcast. I listen to him a lot. Brown Girl podcast. Karen Civil and Ming Lee's podcast.
Yeah. I don't even think they still do theirs. I don't think
so. They're not as consistent anymore. Yeah. And of course, Earn Your Leisure. That's one of my favorites. And, you know, I'm not actually audio. I'm not out there on Spotify or those platforms or Anchor yet. But come 2022,
it's on the list.
It's on the list. Yeah. It's going up. But I just wanted to start live, you know, because I honestly believe I didn't really have. I didn't know where Tappin Thursdays was gonna go. I didn't really have a full blown vision for it. I just knew the city needed it. So I just wanted to be that for the city. I wanted to be that platform, and then the opportunity came about with getting that location. Because at first I was recording in the crib, you know, and adding those artists onto the live. But it's not the same as sitting down with them and tapping that energy. And, you know, every time I have a guest, they get a tour of the studio. You know, I want people to really be able to connect and collaborate.
Was there ever any, did you ever experience any type of pushback, you know what I'm saying, from maybe some people who was close to you when you was like, I'm going to pursue building my own, you know what I'm saying? Or was it just full-blown support? Did you have to like kind of keep it to yourself because you knew it was going to come with something?
Right. No, I feel like I had the support all along. Good. But along the journey, you know, some people may need help understanding, you know.
Good luck.
Why we do what we do. And those threats as far as, you know, I'm about to quit this 9 to 5 and really go full time, but knowing you're not really ready yet, you know. But I do have moments like that. And I know that, you know, you can go out on faith and do that. But listen here, I got bills, student loans, you know, that is catching up. So, you know, I don't have the luxury of doing that yet.
Right.
Until I see Kay Vick Relations in a place where I'm able to do that, I would never consider doing that. Right. But, you know, I think about it all the time, you know. But I know that it's that patience. I got to have that consistency. I got to have and that discipline. So. Yep.
And in due time, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
There's nothing, shout out to my homeboy, man, Daryl Brown. He has a saying, the journey makes a story better.
Ooh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Good. And like, you can't really cheat the grind. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's gems and there's a lot of like, you know, a lot of value in the process and, you know, going through the steps. You know what I'm saying? So it's nothing wrong with that at all. You know what I'm saying? And waiting your time. You know, the creator know when the time is right.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's always in right timing. What's like a weakness or something that you want to be mindful of just like getting better at or working on? Personally, professionally, no matter.
It all circles back to that consistency and discipline, man, because once I get out of whack, I feel like everything else follows,
Yeah.
So I have to make sure that I'm feeding, myself with the things that fuel me, that allow me to produce good quality work, and be my best self.
Right.
And that's working out, that's going to church, whether I'm listening to it, shout out to the Word Church, listening to it, remote, because they do record live now on YouTube. So, I don't have any excuse. And I know that, those teachings feed me and fuel me. So making sure that's a part of my routine, reaching out to my family, talking to them at least once a week, people in Cincinnati, and actually visiting my mom, once a week, making that a part of my routine, because being around family fuels me as well, because I'm very family oriented. So I got to make sure that I'm around that, because if I'm away from it too long, I feel off.
Yeah, 100%. What's your vision? You know what I'm saying, for Kay Vick Relations, and just like for you, just like what do you see for yourself 5-10 years down the line? Like what's the vision? What's the goals that you want to see for Kay Vick Relations?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
So I see Kay Vick Relations having a lot of clients under her belt, a team, and being in a position to put people in high places.
Okay.
Without having to, look at the price tag, or, be able to give in a way that doesn't hurt me financially. And so I want that for Kay Vick Relations. I want to give. I want to be that platform that any creative or entrepreneur can come to, and I can assist them in some type of way, whether it be with graphic design or getting them press release, on a new magazine that just came out, and just making those connections and allowing those people to be in one room so that they can eat too.
Yeah, that's dope. So when I hear it, and correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't sound like, necessarily the podcast space is going to be like, that's not necessarily the goal. It's about, being a bridge to connecting creators with other people, doing some managerial stuff,
right.
Doing some publicist stuff. It's really kind of like, building under that umbrella as opposed to like really leaning into building the podcast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now that, like I mentioned before, I didn't have a vision for Tappin Thursday, but the more feedback I get from the crowd and the audience that consumes this podcast, I want so much more for the podcast. So it's definitely going to be built in Kay Vick Relations. It's just an extension of Kay Vick Relations.
Yeah.
It's an exclusive, but I want to get merch, for the podcast. And next year, I'm thinking more of, this year was focused on, all right, I want to tell y'all about the things people we have in the city and what they're doing. Next year, I want to focus in on, a certain area where people that's watching can write it down, apply it today, every day, and really learn from it. Really give people the free game on the podcast and certain subject areas. And I know a lot of people, based on this season, that can really educate a lot of people in a few areas. So I want to hone in on that for next season.
Yeah, well, dope. Well, listen, Kay, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you not only for coming in here and, sharing your story, but I appreciate you just being yourself. You know what I'm saying? I genuinely appreciate, the stuff that I've learned and I've grown to know about you in the short time period that we known each other. I damn sure appreciate you, you know what I'm saying, for being our motto in our shoe. You killed it again. And the goal here at LYP, man, is to try to highlight and shed light on people, who are really doing some powerful things, man, and who have genuine spirits, and doing something positive and bringing people together and things like that. So, you were one of those people who I feel like really exemplify that. So,
thank you. I appreciate that.
I appreciate.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, for sure.
I love
man.
LYP.
Yeah, shout out LYP. Yeah,
shout
out Kay Vick as well. Well, listen, man. Before I get you out of here, I got a few rapid questions and stuff I want to hit you with. What are your intentions for closing out 2021? We got less than 60 days, left in this year. What's your intentions? What you really want to be mindful of in closing this year out?
So closing this year out, I want to do something I never done before, which is prepare for the new year before December gets here.
Yeah.
And for me, that looks like having everything I want to do in 2022 already laid out, so all I have to do is jump into action January 1st, and that never happens for me. I always need like
a crammer?
I'm a crammer, and I'm also a procrastinator. I can be a procrastinator, but I'm working on that. But yeah, definitely just setting myself and putting myself in a position for success before the new year actually gets here, because it's go time. I have so many goals, and for me, it's just time to execute them.
Yeah. Well, good. We want to keep seeing you grow. What would you consider to be your purpose, and how is that connected to what you got going on today?
My purpose is helping people. Whether that be, telling a joke on a bad day, or just being that light form, or giving advice to a friend, or helping artists market themselves through visual design. So at the end of the day, I feel like that's my purpose, helping people, and I feel like I'm one of God's favorites.
No doubt.
There's divine order on my life. My mom has always told me that, and so that's stuck. And so I feel like I am fulfilling or living out that purpose. I even had that tatted on me. God will fulfill His purpose in me. Psalms 138.
Okay.
So
that's dope.
Yeah, that's.
So are you currently working with any artists right now?
So I actually am not working with any artists closely. However, I just recently ran into a friend who has his own music business, and he's a manager of two artists, Stack a Baby and Jackson. They were actually all on the show last week. Make sure you tune in for that episode. It was one of the best ones I've had. It was improvised, and those usually are the best kinds, because I was under the impression that I had the two artists and he brought the whole team. I tapped in with all of them. Yeah,
that's what's up.
And we are actually they're having a music fest on Friday, and so it's going to be so many artists performing from Chicago, Akron, of course, and Pittsburgh. So I'm also going to be a vendor there. It's going to be a pop-up shop. Barry's going to be there. Shout out to Josh Meir. He's looking for more vendors too, if LYP want to show up. But it is soon, Friday.
It's this Friday?
Yeah, it's at LA Palace. I've never been there, but it's in Cuyahoga Falls.
Okay, all right.
I've been tagging it. It's all over my page. So.
Okay, all right.
But yeah, that should be a vibe.
Okay, bet. We'll tap in a little bit off the camera, talk more about it.
Sure.
What's something about you people be surprised to know?
That's a good question. Soccer is my favorite sport. I like soccer.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's random.
You play soccer coming up?
Yes.
Did you play? Okay.
I did play soccer. I haven't played though on a team in years.
Okay.
But sometimes I may go out and shoot around, dribble around. Yeah.
For real? Okay.
Yeah, but it's been a while. High school was the last time I was on the team.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's what's up. What scares you?
What scared me? What do you mean?
Just period. What
scares me in general?
Yeah, in general. What scares you?
not being able to give my family what they need while they're here now on this earth. So for me, it's like, okay, I got to be successful, but by the time, you know, everyone leaves me, you know, because I want them to feel this energy. I want to do so much for them, and I want them to see that and feel that. And so for me, it's like I'm kind of on a time schedule right now, you know.
What does success look like for you?
Success looks like...
Because you know you are already successful.
Yes, absolutely. God woke me up, you know, that you know, is good as it gets as it relates to that, because it gives me another opportunity to work towards my goals. But success to me looks like being in a position to help people without it impacting you in a negative way. And whether that be investing in them, you know, because they don't have someone investing in them, or they're not investing in themselves. Whether that be sitting down and having time with them because you have the time, and, you know, just talking to them, being that friend they need. Yeah. So that's what success looks like. It's not all about, you know, the money all the time. It's about, you know, seeing how you can help others, and then seeing that return based on their behavior and their action and how they come up and what they do with the knowledge that you gave them.
Dope. What's your favorite quote?
Ooh. I don't really think I have a favorite quote, but...
Or it could be your favorite scripture.
God will fulfill his purpose in me. That's why I got it tatted on me. Because for me, at that time when I got it, it was one of my first tattoos. I want to say like 2016, 17, I had got it. And for me, I was still trying to figure out my purpose. So I wanted that tatted so I can always be mindful that you still working towards that. And, you know, God will fulfill that in you. So you don't have to worry about it too much.
Yeah, that's powerful. What is the greatest advice you ever received?
Let me think about that. Greatest advice I ever received was... Wow, that threw me in for a loop, man. Because I'm like, wow, I mean, it's really cliche, but to, you know, let go of the things you can't control. Because I'm always worried about, you know, stuff I can't control. And I know once I release that, you know, I feel a whole lot lighter. And I'm able to focus and put my energy into things that, you know, I want to, versus something that God can handle for me.
Yeah, man, that's how I know that God really has things in divine order, because again, that is something like releasing control. That's like my thorn in my side. It's like, you know what I'm saying, really wanting to have control and, like, you know, really be able to control the outcome of things, because, you know, mentally for me, it makes me feel safe. It makes me feel comfortable. And I know that that's the same thing for all of us. But for me, it is a huge thing. And the reason why I say it's in divine order that you said that is because, you know, even my last guest, that was something that, you know, he spoke about. That's something that's like, that's hard for him to do. You know what I'm saying? So for that to be reiterated in this moment, and if I'm just being 100% transparent, you know, it was something that was really kicking my ass earlier today. It was that, like, you know, I was trying to hold on to something and just, like, you know, hold on to things that I couldn't control, and it was weighing on me. And now, granted, I was able to have a moment where I was like, you know, I worked through it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't internalize all my thoughts. I didn't, you know, I didn't like stay married to my thoughts.
Right.
So I allowed them to come and go. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
but
that's good.
To hear this reiterated in the moment lets me know that, like, it's all...
You ain't the only one.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's good. It's good to hear you say that. My last one. If you could go back and tell your 20-year-old self, knowing what you know today, what would you tell yourself?
Honestly, it goes back to this school stuff. I'm in debt right now, and you don't really need to be. And, you know, and not only that, I mean, I don't regret not going to school, but I know that you can still be successful with or without it. And, you know, something really got to shake for me so I can, you know, pay these loans off. So that's the only thing I would say, because for me, I always thought that's what I had to do. You know, that's what I had to do. And that's not always the case. So,
preaching to the choir.
Yeah.
You preaching to the choir. I feel you.
Yep.
110% I feel you.
Yeah.
Listen, thank you again. You know what I'm saying, for coming on. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you being you. I want to continue to see, you know, Kay Vick Relations continue to grow and develop, and just like, you know, I want to continue to just be a server, what I can do to help, you know, in your evolution. So if there's anything I can do along your journey, please don't hesitate to let me know. Because like I said, I appreciate you. I appreciate what you know, doing in this space. And let this be a lesson to other podcasters out there, is that, you know, there is plenty of room for all of us to eat.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And we much better and we much stronger when we unite. You know what I'm saying? It ain't no reason for us to not, you know, be in the works with one another. You know what I'm saying? So much love to you. The last thing that I ask my guests to do is to lobby for a special guest. Last year, you know, last season, I guess you want to call it, we was able to get one of my inspirations. His name was Arian Foster. He's a retired NFL player. But he had started that podcast after he like retired and transitioned out of playing football. But a lot of the stuff that he was talking about, it really helped me lean into like my creative side and, you know, my entrepreneurship side. It was like he was one of the stuff that I gained from him was like a real big. It was a lot of value that I took in the time of my life that like helped me start LYP. And we was able to get him on the show. You know what I'm saying? Back in January, we was able to get him on. So the next guest that we trying to get on the show was none other than Charlamagne the Guy himself.
Oh wow!
You know what I'm saying?
That's
So
big.
we gonna, you know, we putting it out there. We gonna manifest it and really, you know what I'm saying, really get it out there. So if you could look at that camera right there, tell Mr. Charlamagne the Guy why he should be a guest on LYP, please.
So he should be, Charlamagne, you should be a guest on LYP because the energy is amazing. The authenticity is here. This is what you want to be around. And it's a free space to really talk your shit, because Charlamagne, you know, you talk your shit. Yeah. So, and also, you know, it's a good message behind the brand. You know, live your purpose. You tapping in with amazing individuals and really honing in and highlighting what it is they do, because they don't get that, you know. And so get Charlamagne on here, and you know, I think his followers will go up. For sure. You know, and I think it's fitting too. I think as a black man, you know, you will want to support another black man doing his thing, and, you know, pursuing a business that has a positive message behind it.
Well, thank you so much, man. Charlamagne, we coming for you, bro. We gonna get him on. Like I said, we putting it out there in the universe, man. We manifested it. We just gonna keep working and, you know, let God take care of the rest. But all in all, man, thank you, Kay, again. I can't appreciate you enough, man. Y'all make sure y'all check out, you know, the website, the IG, man. Kay is killing it. She killed it in our photo shoot. If y'all want to support the merch that Kay was rocking, www.lypp.org. Again, man, y'all go check it out, man. Support. We appreciate you. LYP, baby, another episode. Peace.